In today's video, we sit down with Mike Winkleman, better known as Beeple, to learn how he's made over 9 years of daily renders and some of the techniques he uses to never miss a day in almost 10 years. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Nick here from Greyscalegorilla, giving you the tools, training, and tutorials to help make you a better motion designer. Now we have an incredible interview today, but before we get to that, I wanted to make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Get a link down below. And also, we just opened up our training site. So if you're interested in more Cinema 4D training from us here at Greyscalegorilla, please click below. We're also gonna link it up right here. All right, let's get into the interview. We were lucky enough to sit down with Mike Winkleman before Half Rez this year. Many of you know him better as Beeple, and now he's been doing daily renders and artwork for over 9 years now. In fact, it's almost 10 years, and he hasn't missed a day. And so we sit down and talk a little bit about what makes him tick, what got him started on this daily render series, and also what happens when he just doesn't have enough time. How does he get through that process? So we get through quite a few questions here right before Half Rez, and also stay tuned. We have another video with Beeple coming out soon, so be looking out for that one. But for now, let's go behind the scenes with Mike Winkleman right before Half Rez 2016. Hey everybody, it's Nick here from Greyscalegorilla, and today I'm real excited to have Mike Winkleman, also known as Beeple, here at Half Rez. He's gonna be up on stage in just a few hours doing a Q&A, but I thought we'd kind of talk and hang out. And you know, you are such an inspiration to people. People look at your work. You've been posting every day. Every day is for how long now? Over 3,000?
Yeah, it's been like 9.5 years.
9.5 years you've posted work every day.
Yeah.
And you said this to me last night too. I would have assumed you maybe batched a few. Hey, the weekend's coming up, I'm gonna do 4 of them. You do these every day?
Every single day, each one is done, start to finish, that day, by midnight. And I've gotten very close to midnight at times, but by midnight that day, start to finish.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you putting that kind of work into things, and as this stuff comes out, a lot of people are like, man, I wish I could do that. I don't think a lot of people know maybe where you came from, where you started 9.5 years ago to even start doing these every days, and also what pulled you into all this 3D and just art in general. What made you do this?
I went to school for computer science at Purdue, and realized, you know, while I was taking classes, I started making like little short films and stuff like that. And I realized very quickly that I was way more interested in like design and short films and creating websites and stuff, and you know, the design aspect of websites than sort of programming. So I kind of slogged through the degree, and then, you know, figured I'm not going to be able to teach myself programming, but maybe I can teach myself design. So, you know, if that doesn't work out, the programming thing is kind of a backup.
Yep.
So I kind of slogged through it and, you know, got a job, and then just kind of focused most of my energy on like side projects and just doing stuff. And the everydays started from, I saw an illustrator named Tom Judd who did a year of sketches, and he did like a sketchbook, and you know, it was super cool to see progression through the year. And it's kind of like a sort of like a diary sketchbook. He had like kind of like little notes and stuff like that, and drawings, and it kind of, you know, filled up each page. And so I thought that'd be a cool way for me to get better at drawing. So the first year of this, I did drawing, and I did get a lot better. Still very bad, but I did see a huge amount of improvement, and it really like opened my eyes to different styles and techniques and stuff like that. So I thought maybe I could apply that to, you know, learning a 3D package. I'd never done any sort of 3D, so I was like, oh, maybe I could do, you know, a render a day in Cinema 4D and learn that. And so that's how it kind of started from there. And since then I've done Illustrator and photography and other things that I wanted to learn. So it's definitely been really good for just learning shit.
So you do every year, you pick a new topic, and I know it's been in cinema for a while. But
yep, because I think there's so many different areas in Cinema 4D that it's sort of it's broad, and it can encompass a lot of different other things. And I'm always trying to like learn other side programs that kind of feed into that, but that's sort of, you know, my base of creation, I guess.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about a recent one because it's one of my favorites that you've made in the last few years. Was it Rainbows, or what's the name of that one with the characters running at the camera?
That wasn't really an everyday. That was just more of like I wanted to see if you could take grass and attach it to a moving. So I went into Daz 3D, which is kind of a, I don't know if you've ever used that.
No.
It's really weird because it's kind of like porn oriented in a way. Like it's for people to make
characters.
like character 3D porn.
Gotcha.
So it's actually free, and you can just download the program, and if you don't want to buy like a skimpy outfit for your like character, you can just use it for free. So
Naked's free. You got to pay for the clothes.
yeah, pretty much. So I made like a little fat kid in that, and then put it into that Mixamo. Have you ever used that? It's like
just been experimenting.
Oh
with
yeah,
that,
yeah. I
actually.
saw the dancing video or whatever.
Yeah.
That was from Mixamo or whatever, I'm guessing. But yeah, so had him running, and I was like, I wonder if you can use the like octane scatter thing to like attach something to it, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, and it was sort of like spent more and more time on it, and it was kind of
It just kept getting better, and once the camera kind of fell down, I'm like, this is really good. And then I won't spoil the ending, but
the
it gets
ending of
even
the
better.
15 seconds.
Like it keeps going. I love this. So obviously you're doing these daily projects, but you're also working on some commercial work too. You don't necessarily talk a lot about that on your website.
Sure.
Can you share with us any commercial projects or movies or anything else you've been working on recently?
I just wrapped up working with a company called Possible, doing the Democratic National Convention last month or whatever, which was really a very interesting experience. And I actually had the chance to go out and go to the convention with them and be on site or whatever. So it was definitely very interesting. Other than that, I've done some Zed stuff. I did some working on some of the stuff I'm not sure I can say.
We'll bleep it out. you could hold it.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see some of that stuff. You don't talk a lot about it, but I always see really good work coming from you, no matter where it's coming out.
I think part of the reason is I feel like I'm already kind of spamming people with work in terms of like I'm releasing something at least once a day, if not, VJ clips or other little bullshit here and there. So it's sort of like on top of that, now look at this, here's more bullshit. So it's kind of like it doesn't really feel super necessary. And the other part of it is it's kind of, I'm just one part of a team on those projects, so it's sort of like, it doesn't really, in some ways it doesn't feel like my thing to show. Yeah. It's sort of like, I would say that's more of the like creative director's, project to show.
Yeah.
So
people will go, oh, you did this? We're like, well,
yeah,
see that
exactly.
one piece right here?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want it to be like, I did this whole thing. It's like, no. I was just one person on the team of this. So that's the other reason why I usually don't show the like stuff.
So what's your shortest you've ever worked on one of your daily renders? And what's your longest?
The longest, I'm not sure. Probably like 6 or 8 hours. I mean, a decent amount of time if I had nothing to do that day, or, well, if I had nothing to do that day, basically.
You're
I
like,
had
wake up.
A lot of, ambition for whatever reason to spend all fucking day on it. But the shortest I would say was probably, my wife was actually in labor, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was like, this was our first kid. I was like, I don't know when, and I don't know what the hell this day is going to be about. So it was like, okay, honey, can I just do it real quick before we go to the hospital? So
I don't want to miss it.
It's tough because I think people, like, if you've never had a kid, you picture labor as being this, like, oh my God, we got to go to the hospital. Like, it's really a lot slower than people think, and it's kind of ramps up over, like, hours. So it wasn't like that big.
Well, it's long enough for you to make a deal and go, I need 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, this is 5 minutes. And I did like a little, I think I just took like a ball and like stretched some arms out so it kind of looked like a baby or like a little like person. Yeah, it was very quick, but I think that was probably the fastest. Actually, no, there's been times where I've had like food poisoning And it's kind of like, fuck this, I don't give a shit, balls, fears, like whatever. Like
I might be dead tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, it's
Screw
kind of
this.
like very much just like keeping the streak going, but yeah, there's definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean that long in a row. Do you ever have those days? It sounds like you might like over 3,000 days in a row that you wake up and you're like, is today the day I stop doing this, or is it
No.
almost like just such a habit now?
Yeah, there's no days like that. There's definitely tons of days. I would say most days I definitely do not want to do it just because it's like 8 o'clock and it's like, let's see, I could watch fucking whatever, a million shows that I'm way behind on,
Yep.
or I could sit at the computer for another 3 hours. It's like, fucking kill me. So there's definitely plenty of times, most of the time, that I don't want to do it, but never a time where I'm like realistically not going to do it.
So I know you said you did the drawing stuff for a year. You saw a big improvement of it. Would you recommend an everyday for everybody to do? I mean, is this something that
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it, I think the biggest thing with it is picking something that you can do in 5 minutes. That no matter what you can do. That it's not like, okay, minimum, I need 3.5 hours to do this, because that's
Right.
not realistic. You're not going to have that.
set yourself up for failure?
Yeah, you absolutely have 5 minutes a day. There's nobody who can say, I don't have 5 minutes, or even 15 minutes. There's nobody who can say, I do not have 15 minutes a day to do this. It's bullshit. Just sleep 15 minutes less or whatever.
Right.
Everybody has that. So I think that's the biggest thing that gets people is they overcommit to something. And I think the other thing is making it a very quantifiable goal in terms of like either you did it or you did not do it. Not like, well, I kind of worked on my novel today. It needs to be like you did it or you did not do it.
Yeah, you wrote the page or you didn't, or you
Exactly,
posted
yeah.
it on Instagram.
And that's where I think posting it helps, because it kind of like makes you a little more accountable to people, and it sort of it makes it more final. Like, it's out there. I posted it. It's done. I'm not like gonna go back and tweak it because I just posted it.
Yeah.
So it kind of is a very hard like
Start over
cut off.
tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right.
A very hard like cut off.
So I know a lot of students, a lot of artists everywhere, really looking at your work, looking at not just how prolific it is, but how consistently great it is. Do you have any advice for anybody that's looking to get into this business, or maybe is in already making stuff like this and wants to get better? Do you have any ideas or something that they could follow to kind of think about as they try to be a better artist? I see that in you, that you always want to be better, and I wonder if there's anything you would share with some of our viewers out there that are like, how do I get better?
I think, unfortunately, if there's some trick, I don't know it. I'm taking the slowest fucking route to that. So I think it really just comes down to practicing, and that's where I think starting an everyday can help you sort of stick with it. Beyond that, I think just try and soak up as much as you can in terms of like influences, and I think, in terms of like trying to like emulate other people's styles and stuff like that, I think that's totally cool. I think you need to just be careful to sort of if you're getting a little too close to the line, then definitely credit the person and be like, okay, this was at least super inspired by them or something like that. But I think trying out different techniques and trying to do what other people have done, and a lot of times I will try and like take something that I see that I really like and basically try and like exactly recreate it. But then I invariably fall, short of what it is, and then sort of take that and make the final, take that as like, okay, for the last 2 hours I tried to create it exactly. Mm-hmm. But the final output looks nothing like it because I, at the end, changed something or made something different to make it look drastically different. So it wasn't just the same thing. So I think that's, one thing that I think can help people focus on a technique, but not just copy somebody else's work.
Yeah. yeah, almost like go through the tutorial or follow along or copy exactly, but then like you said at the end
do something like to make it like different or drastically different.
Yep.
You know, move the camera or change the colors or invert this or that or whatever, just to like give it its own sort of, you know, feeling and your own sort of take on it or whatever.
Well, I could ask you 100 more questions, but we're going to have you on stage here in just a few hours, and where we're going to ask you even more.
Okay.
You're doing great. So I'm going to save a few for there, but I want to ask you a couple more. One is your post-process seems to be really, it seems to be a big part of your workflow is not just rendering out of cinema, but you really do a lot of post-work. What are some of the tools and some of the ways that you do your post-processing?
Sure. There's a lot of the post-processing, and I've been getting a little better about doing sort of passes, but in the past it was mostly just, you know, beauty pass and I'm done. But now I've been kind of, not like a huge amount just because I don't have time to comp everything together. But yeah, just running out like a Z pass or something just for like atmosphere or stuff like that, or things like that. But mostly just comping stuff in Photoshop, whether that be, you know, like if it's a landscape, I'll comp in like a sky or stuff like that, or like birds or something, just to kind of give it a little bit more, you know, character and feel and stuff like that. Stuff that wouldn't make sense to, you know, do in cinema or whatever.
Right.
But I think always doing like, I'll always do some level of like final color correction in Photoshop, just because if you're spending that much time getting the color perfect in Cinema 4D, you're spending too much time, because you can easily just tweak the curves in Photoshop and it's like a lot faster and get that final.
So Photoshop mostly for your stills, and then your video stuff too.
The video stuff
usually composite in.
Yeah, it's in After Effects. Doing stuff like that. A lot of times I'll use that magic bullet looks and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's mostly just curves and stuff. A lot of for video, that is usually mostly just straight out of Cinema 4D, in terms of I don't do a lot of compositing, a lot of post beyond you know, just color correction type stuff, or a lot of times I'll do particles or like effects like that it wouldn't, you don't necessarily want to bake into the final render, just because it's like maybe the particles are too much, or I want them a little different. So stuff like that I'll do post in After Effects, but other than that, it's usually a fairly straight render out of cinema.
Awesome. Well, I think one more thing. I know you share a lot of scene files and a lot of your work on your site. What is the scene file that you think, if somebody out there watching, should just like go look at and go look through, that really has like some crazy stuff in there that maybe people aren't seeing? Because it's so great that you share all these things, but I feel like there's so much of it. Where should people start with some of the scene files that you share?
I don't know, because the scene files are a fucking mess. Like, they're just, if you are part of a team working on something, do not be an asshole and make things like I do. Like, nothing's named, and it's just like grouped, and it's just bleh. So I don't even know like where to begin. I would say just pick one of the, like, maybe the older VJ clips, because I feel like the short films are like a little big, maybe a little sprawling, and there you're really gonna like probably feel a little lost.
Yep.
So I would say probably maybe pick one of the VJ clips that seems a little, I don't know, less complicated. I would say it's probably a good thing. But I think, honestly, and I send a lot of people to those beginning tutorials that you have done for Cinema 4D. I think those are like great for like, okay, here's this piece of the program. Here's how it works. Like, I think those, I would go through those before you look at any of my stuff, because it will absolutely help you, you know.
Well, thank you for that. That means a lot. That has helped a lot of people. We get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've sent a lot of people to those. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, like I said, we're gonna literally go do more Q&A on stage in a few hours, so I'm gonna leave it there. And hopefully we'll be recording all of that as well so you guys could see it later. But I just want to thank you for coming to Half Rez, being
for
here.
having me.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mike.
Cool, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in another video real soon. We're going to get Mike to wave now. Bye, everybody.
Thanks again for watching, everybody. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have videos just like this, interviews, podcasts, tutorials, all designed to help make you a better motion designer. And if you're looking at stepping up your game this year, please check out our training page where we have motion design training made specifically for you to really step your game up and speed up your learning process. All right, with that, I wanted to thank you once again for coming by, and we'll see you in another video really soon. Bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, it's Nick here from Greyscalegorilla, and I'm really excited today to have Beeple at Half Rez. You're already laughing at me.
I don't know.
So yeah, it fell right into it. We're keeping it. We're keeping it, Mike.